Chivalry of Shotaros. Chivalry of Shotaros. Oh, God. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into...
Wait, what did you mess up on now?
I flubbed.
Come Machita.
I vote Alex actually host.
I'm not prepared to host this episode.
Does it look like I'm prepared? Two. Shut up. Shut up. I'm gonna do it. You get it. And we have our Chivalry of Shotaros. I keep forgetting it.
Hey everybody, it's Alex here. So before this episode starts, I just wanted to kind of inform you guys of something that happened just shortly after we recorded this particular episode. So in this episode, one of the things we talk about in our news section is the recent news article that went out from Valve informing some visual novel makers that Steam was going to be pulling off some of their visual novels because of adult content. So at the time of recording of this particular episode, nothing new had happened in this story. But then about an hour or so after we finished recording, Valve issued a retraction to all these different visual novel makers. So we still wanted to leave our discussion of what happened in this episode. We just wanted to make sure that you guys didn't think we were operating on some old, outdated news. But I am going to include both of the articles to this particular story in the description for this video. I just wanted to make you guys aware of what's going on. So other than that, thank you all for listening, and enjoy this episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I am your host, John, and joining me tonight, we have our Wizard of Wait What, Chinoda.
Someone's gonna die tonight, I swear.
Okay. Our Chivalry of Shotas, Shotaro.
I like to fondle small rabbits.
Okay. And our, what do we call Alex again? The retired old man?
Oh my god.
I'm kidding.
Do we even
our
have one for Alex?
Valiant Senpai Alex.
I want to point out that this is what, the 18th take of this fucking intro? Fucking Christ, let's start this show.
Don't lift the veil, stop it. You're ruining everything.
No, we have everything recorded, so we can we can say...
Oh, there will be a blooper reel.
There will never. I am the editor. You will never hear the blooper reel.
We have the notes also.
I don't care if you have the notes. Anyway, moving on. Our main topic tonight is going to be about body imaging, body image in anime and manga. But before that...
Are you sober?
No. I mean, yes. You got me.
Got him.
Before we move on to our main topic, we have some news and announcements. Alex, if you will.
All right, so the first thing I want to talk about, I'm sure by the time this goes out, everyone will have heard about this, but just a few days ago, Steam announced that they are going to be pulling quite a bit of visual novels and anime-themed games off of their service. This all kind of started about, I think, 3 or 4 days ago when the makers of Honey Pop, which if you've ever played Honey Pop, it's a pretty innocuous, like, you line them up all in a row type of game, but there is nudity and a lot of sexual content in it. But
hold on. Isn't the main gameplay of Honey Pop, like, Bejeweled or something?
Yeah, basically. It's basically Bejeweled with anime titties.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, what?
Why would they take that away?
Well, I don't know. But it kind of started with the maker of this game getting notification from Valve saying that their game was going to be taken off their service. And then apparently a bunch of visual novel creators got very similar notifications from Valve and Steam. So it looks like there's basically any kind of visual novel or kinetic novel or anime-themed game that has any kind of and it's very innocuous because they say it goes against their content and community standards, but they don't actually say what part of their content or community standards these things violate. So
are the visual novels that are being removed, are they just like anime titty ones?
well, no, yeah, any it seems like any particular visual novel that has any kind of sexual content, be it nudity or actual sexual content.
Is Clannad removed from the Steam store? Because I remember there are routes where you get to see like some girls kind of naked.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything specifically about Clannad. I would be very surprised though, because I think it is actually the best-selling visual novel on Steam.
Probably. I don't have the stats to back that up, but I was just wondering because I know that has it's not full on nudity, but it's like nudity.
Yeah, there is nudity, and at least I think there's at least one route of Clannad I know you can actually see legitimate nudity.
Yeah.
Also an after story, but that's a different story altogether. It's safe to say that a lot of people are a little upset about this, myself included, because I can't really see the logic in this. Like, okay, so you're taking off games, visual novels that you might see as actual nudity, but yet you're gonna still allow a game like Grand Theft Auto 5 where you can literally kill a prostitute after you have sex with her. That's okay. That doesn't violate your community standards, but a fucking two-dimensional nipple does. I don't understand.
Racism.
Because they have a problem.
Racism.
Yeah, it's actually racist. They just have a problem with giant anime titties.
At this point, it would make so much more sense to me if Valve came out and said, "We just hate Japanese people."
It honestly would make a
No,
lot
they
more
just hate
sense.
Japanese titties.
Yeah, Japanese anime titties. Which ties into our subject, actually.
It's kind of crazy how that works.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's something I wanted to mention. It's like it's getting a lot of backlash, so it'll be interesting to see if Valve actually kind of goes through with this. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, primarily from a money-making standpoint, and Valve makes a ton of money off of Steam. I just don't really see what they're trying to accomplish with this because, and even according to these visual novel makers, these games have already gone through a very vigorous review process years ago. So
Yeah,
I don't really
seriously.
know, unless they've changed something very specific in their community guidelines very recently, I don't see why this is a problem.
Like, and even then, what they are fighting against right now is their community themselves, and it's like, why? Why are you doing this against your very own community? It's not going to turn out well.
Yeah.
See, what you guys are seeing here is like a bad thing. I'm seeing an opportunity to open a business where I can legit just publish these visual novels for people now. Like, I'm just starting a company and my own
see
platform.
something like that.
Yeah, it's just gonna be like Visual Novel Central, and I'm just gonna just do that and collect money like Valve and be like, you guys fucked up. This is my business now.
Yeah. The good thing for a lot of these visual novel publishers is that they release their visual novels themselves anyway. They just also use Steam to help, facilitate it. So they aren't necessarily going to be out complete. A lot of them aren't going to be out completely, but it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Like I said, man, it's opening up a new business of distribution, so I don't see a problem with that. I hope someone with a shit ton of money will do that. If not, I'll do it first, whatever.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to your new
John's-
business venture.
Big
Yeah,
titty
that's
anime
John's
house.
Titty platform.
Big titty anime house. This is what I'm gonna call it.
Sure.
I like there's a bunch of articles that have been talking about this, and the best title of an article that I've seen is calling this the anime titty holocaust.
So
Isn't that what Honey Pop called it?
I think so.
I think Honey Pop literally just called it that.
I don't know. I just think that's one of the greatest headlines I've ever seen for an article. It's the anime titty holocaust.
it's true.
It is, though. And
It's
that's the
accurate.
sad part.
Completely.
Does that make
politically correct and
Does that make
sensitive.
Gabe Newell the anime titty Hitler?
Yeah, probably.
If he wants to be.
You shall not speak ill of our Lord and Savior Newell.
See,
But
this is what
he's-
probably happened.
But he's
this is what
doing
probably happened.
heresy against us.
Now, see, this is what happened. He probably has jerked off to all of these things, and he's like, "I'm done with this. You can get it off there now."
Like, let me delete my history.
Just looking back, oh god, I can't believe I jerked off to this visual novel about this slutty church person. What are they called? Nuns. That's what they're called. I forgot for a split second what they were
Oh
called.
my god.
Anyway,
Anyway, that's all I got to say about this.
Yeah, all right. Let's move on from that. Our next news and announcement, I have no clue what it is, so I'm gonna let Sho take over for that.
Just wanted to do a quick PSA to let people know that Digimon Adventure Tri has finally finished airing after 3 years.
Thank God.
So you can watch the full thing on Crunchyroll. And also a new Digimon Adventure project has been announced. It isn't clear what exactly it will be, but it is happening, and I am looking forward to that. I also need to still binge Try first, but I want to do that, and then I'm looking forward to the new project.
You know, I wasn't even aware that Digimon Tri was still ongoing. I thought it was only gonna be around for like 2 seasons, quite honestly.
It's like a series of like 5 or 6 movies that aired like every 4 months, and I'm like, oh, that takes so long, but it's finally done.
Wow. All right. Well, I don't care about Digimon anymore.
Well, you should go watch it.
I got one more thing before we get into our topic real quick. So I already announced this on our Facebook page, our group. If you're not a part of that, you actually should be. But in a couple months, I will be going to Otakon in Washington, D.C. I will finally get to meet Shinoda in person.
He's gonna kill me. Someone please help.
I will strangle him on behalf of John.
FBI couldn't. I didn't say that Alex should do that. He's doing that of his own volition. I wash my hands of this. If there are any dead bodies, please do not think it was me. I have no part in this.
Yeah, I'll be in Washington D.C. the second weekend of August for Otakon, so I will be posting many pictures of that in our Facebook group. So yeah, I just want to say that I'd be there. Anyway, I'm done.
All right, cool. Now moving on to the main topic that we have tonight. Like I said earlier, it's going to be about body image and stuff. I don't know what else. Big anime titties. Essentially, it's big anime titties.
I was gonna say character designs.
I like how we're talking about body image for titties and we don't have a woman on the podcast.
I know. It's hard
They're
to get
overrated
a woman
anyways.
to... Yeah, I know. It's fine.
It's hard to find women that can put up with us.
Wow, put up with you specifically.
Oh, wait a minute.
Anyway, my first question about body image in anime and manga is, how has body image in anime changed over the years? And what I mean by that is, you've seen the evolution of anime if you've watched anything old, like 90s anime, early 2000s anime, to late 2000 anime, to current anime. There's definitely been a shift of like styles, and it just seems that, to me, I've noticed a lot more girls drawn in anime who are supposed to be middle schoolers or high schoolers are a lot more pronounced, aka they have giant fucking titties that would just be literally impossible to have in real life. How do you guys feel about this?
I mean, if you're asking me if it's a positive or negative thing, I think it depends on the actual person watching it. But there's definitely been a change. Yes, I like how you put it though. Like,
yeah, I'm just asking,
titties.
like, yeah. So if you watch something from, let's say, 2006, like Clannad, and you look at the body proportions of anime girls, they don't really have like giant triple G titties, and they don't just like have thick ass impossible thighs to achieve. They just look.
No, they have giant fucking bug eyes.
Yeah, they have giant fucking bug eyes.
That's
and
true.
But their
That's
body
standard.
shape isn't like overly done. You know what I'm saying? Compared to, I don't know, something released last year, like High School DxD type shit.
Oh Jesus!
Like literally just boobs overflowing everywhere.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily just limited to female bodies. I think you could look back in the 70s and 80s, especially shonen from those times, and you can see that there were massively unrealistic proportions for men.
Yeah, like high school men that look like they're 28 years old bodybuilders.
Or look at something like Fist of the North Star. Like, fucking no man should look like Kenshiro. Ever.
Yeah, but in Fist of the North Star, to be fair, in Fist of the North Star, it's post-apocalyptic, all right? You don't know what the nukes have done to Japan or to
Oh
these
my
guys,
God.
right? They're all mutantly huge, okay?
Jesus Christ.
Still pretty muscular and unrealistic.
Speaking of which, have you seen the Jotaro image where someone erases all the like shadows and the lines, and he
I
actually
have.
looks...
It is like there's a fucking actual 17-year-old child under there.
Yeah, right? So I'm just saying, back in the day, they didn't have to draw those shaded lines to make them super manly, so he would have looked 17. Except Araki is kind of just weird like that.
But again, that's kind of that's a sign of the times, really. That's how it was done back then. I mean, if you were a main character in a shonen, especially if you were a male main character in a shonen, you had big beefy muscles, and you could beat the shit out of anyone just by looking at them, basically.
See, I wouldn't necessarily say that's true, because when I think of like shonen, I'm thinking Speed Racer, how he wasn't really muscular, right? He just looked normal. An Astro Boy, they're super cartoony. They weren't very well defined, and it was acceptable back then, and people still loved the shows. But then when you when you get into like Fist of the North Star era or Gundam era, early Gundam era, they're being drawn pretty and very lifelike. Not extremely lifelike, but not bug-eyed super giant tits and ass everywhere.
Abnormal.
Yeah. I don't just watching anime for so long and noticing these trends of like, look at how big and beautiful their hair and their eyes are now, and also this 14-year-old has giant triple D titties and like an ass that you could eat off of for days.
And then you feel bad. It's like you look down.
I need to quote you on that.
Wow, yeah, exactly. And then you look down and you see the hard one, and you're like, "Fuck, I'm going to jail."
I mean, like Gurren Lagann, everyone looks normal. Like Kamina looks normal, Simone looks normal, but then you come to freaking Yoko, and it's just like, how old is she? Like 13?
14.
Wait, how old is Kamina?
Kamina?
Because
he's 16.
He's 16.
Yeah, he doesn't look 16 though. He looks like 20.
Yeah, he looks like a grown-ass man, but he's not.
He does look at the outset maybe late teens, early 20s.
No, I'd fairly say
buff as fuck.
Yeah, he's ripped. But again, I'm gonna say just it's post-apocalyptic, whatever. But the girl design for Yoko is just super insane, and you definitely know that she was designed to be eye candy.
Well, it definitely doesn't help that she barely wears any clothes.
Oh yeah, her fucking fire bikini, it's just amazing. I mean, don't FBI-kun, please don't.
It is though. FBI probably agrees with you. What the shit?
Okay, but like her like boobs are proportionate to her body in that case. Yeah, technically she's like underage, but the boobs are like both her boobs and her body are both large.
That's a fair
like
point.
She's tall.
Yeah, that's true. But that's
she
super
is almost as tall as
unrealistic in real
Kamina.
life, is what I'm just saying. It's just so unrealistic.
Yeah. Well, like you could see that, just not on the age that has been ascribed to her.
I'm not saying that it's a positive or a negative thing. I'd rather say that the evolution of the body imagery in anime and manga is actually a positive change because it helps remove it more from reality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I like that aspect of it. It's like, oh, this is definitely anime, and I love it.
I just like variation, like do some unrealistic stuff, do some realistic stuff, you know, don't stick to one style.
Nah.
So yeah.
Nah, I want these overflowing cups all up in my face.
No, you don't.
Well, it also kind of speaks to the changing style, like you said, because if you look at really early anime like Astro Boy, like Speed Racer, a lot of that art style is kind of attributed to like a Disney art style because they were kind of copying Walt Disney's art style in the early days of anime. So you have the like kind of cute like the really chubby cute faces and then like the very unassuming body types.
I like that though. See, it's a weird thing. So when older anime does the older cartoonish style, like extreme cartoonish, like rounded hands and like just kind of round bodies, not really looking like real human bodies, I like that. I don't know why. There's just some aesthetic to it. Or I'm just like, yeah, this is definitely from the freaking 60s and the 70s, and this is entertaining to watch. But then when it shifts over in the 80s, 90s era where they start doing realistic drawings, I'm actually okay with that too. I like that shift. And that's actually where I started seeing like an evolution of like, yeah, so it used to want to be Walt Disney. And then creators decided, you know what would be really cool if we made them kind of lifelike. Like if you watch the old Legends of the Galactic Heroes, right? That's the one you guys are watching, right? The remake?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the remake is
I'm watching
actually
that.
I was watching the old one, like on YouTube, like this video about it on the old art style, and I actually really like the old art style more than the new one. And I'm just like,
I will come to your house and punch you in the
Holy
face.
shit.
you know what? Whatever.
Who's
It's because I'm drawn to that old aesthetic because I'm like, this is definitely from the 80s and the 90s, and I like this aesthetic. It has
Well, let
its
me
place
ask,
in its era.
Whose video were you watching, if I may ask?
I don't know. It's just a random thing about should you watch the old Legend of the Galactic Heroes? I'm like, sure, maybe. I
Gotcha.
don't know.
No.
Well, let me ask you, because since
Let
you
me answer that with a no.
well, let me ask, since you brought up Legend of Galactic Heroes, and there's a remake that's currently airing. Do you think that some of this change in like body proportions and character designs, do you think some of that has to do with the advent of CGI?
Most
Yeah.
definitely. It definitely helps out because it's less work the artists have to do, which, is good for them, but at the same time, quality can suffer because of that.
I feel like it ties more into the setting and the plot and the genre that we're watching. Because when I compare something like dramatic as Legend of the Galactic Heroes to something that's just slice of life comedy like God, what's it called? Chunibyo. Love, Delusions, and Chunibyo.
Love Chunibyo and Other Delusions.
Yeah, that anime, Chunibyo. In Chunibyo, I love the super anime style, but it's actually one of the shows that sparked this whole idea in my head of like, these girls are supposed to be like freshmen or sophomore in high school, right? And they've got like thick ass hips. And, like, I'm just like, God damn, all these girls got hips for days, right? And they don't have giant titties. They have okay sized titties. They're pretty proportionate. But every character in Chunibyo has fucking thick thighs for days, okay? And I'm just like, my God, I never noticed, but I love this.
I'd like to point out that that's not exclusive to Chunibyo. That's a KyoAni thing. Like if you look at K-On!, a lot of the characters in K-On! Have really wide hips. Like they're baby making hips is what they are.
Hey, don't know.
They're
no,
trying
illegal.
to send a message.
Subliminally brainwashing us. But yeah, KyoAni is they're a beauty studio, right? Everything they make is literally just beautiful. But it's just so unrealistic because I'm like, I am pretty sure Japanese girls do not have this proportion, first of all. And second of all, even Japanese people don't think that anime characters are Japanese. Mainly because they have like crazy hairstyles and they just don't look like a Japanese person would. A lot of the body aesthetics for like the big hips, big titties look like they belong in like America or Europe, some Western country that has those proportions. So, because sadly to say, very few Asian women actually have these proportions. Not that they don't exist, they definitely do, but it's just
It's
hard
not
to
a
find
standard.
one in real life.
It's not something you see every day.
Like gravure models, sure, they either have implants or they're just the one in a million girl that actually has those proportions. They're blessed with that. But knowing a bunch of Asian girls growing up, they definitely don't got titties for days and ass for days, dude. Like, nah.
Yeah, and
It
that's
just
it.
makes
How
me
it is.
laugh.
To your point of them not looking Asian, most anime characters don't typically look very Asian, and that's kind of been a trend for a very long time. There's actually something that's going on right now. The Monogatari series, specifically Bakemonogatari, is getting a manga adaptation currently, and the mangaka that's doing the art in this manga has actually redesigned all of the characters to look Japanese. He's also
Really?
like toned down the characters like cup sizes, and he's given them like really very realistic like Japanese proportions in their faces.
And do you
And
know
they
how the
actually-
reception to this change has been?
I haven't really talked to a bunch of people that have read it. Certainly not any people in Japan, but my personal opinion on it is that I think it's actually really good because it's an incredibly realistic art style, and it definitely gives them a sense of like where these characters are from. And it's the first time I've really seen this so like blatantly displayed, especially in a manga, where you can tell that these characters are supposed to be Asian. They look Asian. They don't look like an anime character.
So it's really funny because sorry to interrupt, but
Go ahead.
As you were talking about this, I just think it's really funny because whenever I watch anime, I literally only think all these characters are anime characters, not Japanese, not American, but just anime characters. Meaning they're gonna have crazy hairstyles, impossible hairstyles that you could not have in real life, impossible hair colors, and just impossible proportions. So to me, an anime character is just an anime character. They're not necessarily Japanese because of course as we've seen like in Full Metal Alchemist, they're not Japanese, right? They're like European, like German or some shit.
Or no, as the actual creator of Full Metal Alchemist once said, they're all Aryans.
Yeah, they're Germans.
Did he really?
No,
Yeah.
the guy that created Full Metal Alchemist, when he was asked one time what kind of ethnicity these characters are supposed to be, he looked dead in the face and said, Aryans.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
you
then.
see it everywhere because they're blonde hair, blue eyes. It's Aryan right there, right? That's like
Yes.
Northern European Nords people.
Yeah.
Aryan, true-blooded. And I know when we say Aryan, you think, oh man, Aryan, the SS, neo-Nazis, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. Aryan is just like blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm not trying to associate it with anything else but that.
I'm just repeating what the manga said. Don't kill me. I'm not a white supremacist.
That we know of. I mean, he lives in the deep south.
No, he lives in the
Kisses.
reverse south. Don't get it twisted.
The fuck is the reserve? What?
The reserve
reverse
south.
south.
Reverse.
What does
Florida.
that even mean?
I,
That's
are
literally
you saying
the
that
south.
Florida's not part of the South? I will fight you and I will kill you.
I
Well,
would
I'd say northern Florida is part of the south. I wouldn't say southern Florida is. Not
Yeah, I would
necessarily.
say southern Florida is so far down that it's up.
Southern Florida is North Cuba. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we're tangenting
Tangent
too far
aside,
off.
yeah.
Bring it back to the Aryans.
Oh my.
No, but the point I was trying to make with
Repeat
bringing
that
up the...
too much.
Wow, Jesus. Okay, so the point I was trying to make bringing up the Bakemonogatari manga thing is that when an artist works that hard to make it stand out, you really notice, is the point I was trying to make.
I haven't seen the manga, so I can't say much to it, but I definitely would just say I think the Monogatari characters are Japanese just because they're supposed to be. You know, if the author says, yeah, this person that I've drawn, regardless of how ridiculous they look, proportion-wise, hair-wise, style-wise, they are this race, I'll be like, okay, sure, sounds fair.
It's just like how authors say, this character is 13, though they look like the mother of 5, you know?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm like, you know what?
like-
You have to suspend disbelief, you know, because it's not like back in the day where they did draw, like, this person is supposed to be, like, 20 years old. They look like they're 20 to 25. Or this character is supposed to be 16, so they look like they're 16. Or this character is in middle school, so he looks like a middle schooler, right? It's not like we're back there. Now we're in days where it's like, they could literally look like anything. Oh, that lolly? Yeah, she's like 500 years old. Oh, what's that? She's actually like, what is it? Gun Gale Online right now, the lolly MILF. They're calling her the lolly MILF.
The lolly
Oh
milf.
God!
Because
yeah.
in real life, she's a MILF, right? But in the game, she plays as a
College
loli.
student.
And it's like, she's the loli MILF. And it's like, yeah, you would never know that she was actually a MILF. You at first thought she was a loli, then here comes episode 2. It's like, oh shit, she's a MILF. A loli MILF.
What a twist.
Yeah. I don't think it's pleasant, but hey, I'm like, sure, if you want to tell me that this is a loli MILF, sure. I'll refer to her as a loli MILF, whatever.
It's not Kirito.
It's
So
not
it's
good.
good.
God.
I wouldn't say the show is good. I'm going to create a hate cast one day for why I hate Gun Gale Online. As an FPS player, an avid FPS player that has played in tournaments.
You
That
heard
is
it here,
fun,
folks. Well, heard it here, folks. Heard it
No,
here
no.
first. Jesus.
Here, yeah, it's going to be a 15-minute me just going, ree! Anyway, tangenting. Bringing it back. Anyone else?
I would like to say that when the proportions or the boobs or whatever are unrealistic, it sometimes gives a tone of like lightheartedness or comedy, and sometimes that's the point because it's like sometimes you see it in ecchi shows or slice of life shows or comedies, and then usually for more serious shows you have more, sometimes, not in all cases, but you have more realistic proportions. So I think it kind of sometimes fits the tone of the show, or like encourages the tone, or like melds in with the tone. So sometimes it's appropriate, and I think it's not always bad or always good, and it can be, if you put an unproportional person in a very serious show, it kind of throws you off, kind of like in Code Geass, where everyone is fucking
Spaghetti
twigs. Yeah, and it's very distracting, and inappropriate, honestly.
Then you have like
But
Sherry, whatever the fuck her name was. Big Titty McGee.
Who? I don't know who this is.
Big Titty McGee, the redhead one.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Shirley.
Shirley,
Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple.
I didn't remember her name. All I remember is she's Big Tits McGee, and she got red hair.
She really is. That is literally a perfect descriptor of her character.
And this is
That
what I
all there
mean.
is
So
to her?
when people insert characters like this, I don't remember their name. I don't remember if they were actually relevant to the plot. I would remember them more, but I remember the characteristic that she was literally Big Tits McGee. Out of all these twig people, she had giant tits.
I'd like to say this is a short tangent, but I've been rewatching Code Geass lately because I'm preparing for the abysmal third season that will be coming upon us soon.
Oh god, it doesn't exist. It's not canon.
Oh well, I want to say I completely forgot after years of not watching Code Geass that there is actually a masturbation scene in Code Geass.
No,
yeah.
I
I
How did
completely
you
forgot
forget?
about it.
There
Completely
is?
remembered that.
Deska-kun?
Wait, are you talking about Table-kun or something else?
Yeah,
Yes,
Table-kun.
I am
Oh,
talking.
okay.
I had completely forgotten about that. And I got to that scene. I was like, oh, that's why I liked this as a child.
You know what's really fun? My first watch through of Code Geass, I didn't get that because I was like, "Oh, that's kind of weird." Whatever she's doing there, huh? Then on my second through, I was like, "Oh, that's what she's doing." Oh, that. Oh.
Please stop. Oh god.
See, I never got the masturbation scene in Neon Genesis Evangelion until someone pointed it out to me. So.
Oh
that's
my
fair.
god, how dense are you?
Wait, there was a masturbation
No,
scene.
okay, him grunting was so fucking soft. I couldn't even hear it. Like with my volume at normal. I had to rewatch the scene and put the volume to max to hear him grunting in the movie, the masturbation scene in the hospital.
Don't remember it.
Not
Don't
even
care to
gonna
remember it. I don't want to remember this.
Oh no.
Stop ruining my childhood.
Don't worry, it's so fucked up.
Ugh, gross. Ugh, gross.
Anyway, that was just my short tangent with Code Geass.
I don't. Season 3 is not canon. You heard it here. I have said it.
Fuck you.
It's not
It's
canon.
gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna
Um,
be. Yeah, okay.
Bringing this back to the topic at hand, I do have a question that I was kind of wondering what you guys thought about. So, anime has become
Yeah.
a lot more popular in the West over the last 10, 15 years.
Thank
To
God.
the point where I would say it's on the cusp of being completely mainstream, if not already mainstream.
I would
Do you-
say in the last 5 years, it's fucking blown up, man.
Oh, most
Like,
Yeah.
ever since I left high school, it became fucking big.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely way bigger now than it ever has been. Do you think because there's a lot of anime characters over the course of history that have had very unnatural hair colors, do you think that has led to the rise we see in the West of people dyeing their hair unnatural colors?
Nope.
No.
That's a hard no for me, dog.
Really? You don't think that has
Yeah.
anything to do with it at all?
Because to me, to the people that I know of, to my knowledge, the people that I know of, the ones who do dye their hair extreme colors, it's more about them just wanting to express themselves with these colors because, as a bunch of girls have put it, it's just boring to have the same colored hair. Like, if they have light brown hair or blonde hair, they just find it just very fucking boring. And I'm like, you know what? I agree. Just seeing the same blonde or brunette hair every day, it is boring. And then when you start adding more colors to that, which match your, I don't know, your personality or outlook on life, it does make it look better. It just feels better to me. 'Cause it's
There's
like,
a
yeah, your
reason people dye
personality-
their hair.
to express themselves, right? Isn't that the original point of people who dye their hair? It's just to express themselves.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
There are other reasons, obviously.
Well, I'd say like in the 90s, I'd say people who dyed their hair were seen as like rebellious and punk and all this other
emo.
shit. Sure, yeah. People who dye their hair, like they're completely blonde, but they want to go like completely dark hair. Yeah, it's to express themselves, and I feel like that still hasn't changed. I wouldn't say necessarily that people who are super into anime dye their hair to express themselves just because they want to express themselves. Maybe they are copying anime style, because I do know of people who do copy anime styled hair just because they like their hairstyle. Like Kim Kardashian, for example, likes
Yeah.
Zero Two's hairstyle, right? She didn't dye it,
Yeah.
but she styled her hair like that. So you do have a point in that anime style can inspire people. But
Yeah.
if we're
I mean-
talking strictly hair dyeing, I wouldn't say it's like 100% that.
I mean, Kim Kardashian is a hard sell because she's a celebrity. She can do whatever the fuck she wants. For like normal people, dyeing their hair like an insane color is like a big decision because like you're gonna get stares. So I don't personally see a lot of anime fans with crazy hair. I see more people who have an outlier personality more often have crazy hair in the West. From my perspective, more so than just being an anime fan.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, that's fair enough. There's definitely been, from my perspective, an influx of anime-inspired fashion. So I thought maybe that might include things like hair color and hairstyles. So,
what anime-inspired fashion?
Well, there's a whole clothing line based on Evangelion.
There is?
In Japan, there is, and it's starting to come to the U.S.
What?
Uh-huh.
Yo, I might have to look
there's
into
a clothing line that's been developed in Japan. It's based on a lot of the casual clothes that they wore in the show from the 90s, and
that's not even
starting to come to the US.
Normal clothes though.
But it's based on anime.
But that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
I feel like people don't copy.
It's like saying, oh, I'm gonna get my hair cut like Shinji. Oh, I'm so anime. It's like, no, you're just normal.
He's like a normal high school kid. Yeah, he's an angsty teenager. Like what? I mean, I see a lot of people wearing anime clothing. Like there's a lot of people wearing like the Wings of Freedom, Goku's what's it called?
Gi.
Yeah, Goku's gi. I see a lot of people wearing that.
There's a lot of people that wear the I Love Humanity shirt from No Game No Life.
Yeah. So there's that where we copy that, but that's just the same thing as like anyone who's into video games wearing video game shirts. Because I wear video game shirts.
That's true.
I don't consider graphic T-shirts as like anime fashion.
Yeah.
Because it's like it really isn't.
It isn't. Yeah. So
I would
feel
say
like this
it's
has no place
inspired maybe, but it isn't straight up at fashion.
It's not imitating anime. It's like an anime derivative. That you don't see in anime.
True.
Yeah.
It is a way to show your love for it, though.
Yeah.
So I don't think this has anything to do with the body imagery in anime at all. This is just a huge side tangent to waste everyone's time. Thanks, Alex.
All according to Keikaku.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Thanks for guiding us, Mr. Host.
Hey, you know what? I thought it was going to be interesting. It wasn't.
Oh, shit.
When am I ever interested?
Anyway, speaking of anime influencing real life, let's move on to the next subject, which is the trend of 2D is greater than 3D. Is it a threat to the health of people? So I wanted to bring this topic into rotation with body image because it seems like a lot of the people who have unhealthy habits with anime, like the ones who love their dakimakuras and waifu all their Love Live idols and shit, it seems they idolize these women that have just like unrealistic bodies that would never exist in real life. And I feel like it is actually unhealthy for people to, because there's the trend of Japanese otaku who are marrying game waifus, right, on their Nintendo DSs and shit. That was a big thing.
Or dakimakuras.
Or bringing their dakis out with them, and I just feel like that's super unhealthy for their mind. Mainly because these girls are created and crafted to be loved by more than just one person. But it's just so unrealistic that these girls exist. Like, their personalities are literally crafted by a team of people. To the way they speak, to how they're being voiced, it's all crafted. And this is just fake. And people just don't see that. And I think it's actually hazardous to health.
And you're saying 3D women aren't fake?
I mean...
But
Oh my god.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. With all the makeup, all these hoes, can't trust them.
Thought Patrol.
These hoes ain't loyal.
Yeah, exactly. I
Bitches
guess
ain't
that's
shit.
true. But
No, but like, aren't you being a little judgmental? Everyone has their kink, okay?
Okay, kink,
That's what I'm
sure, but
asking.
when
Is
it's
this-
affecting so much of the population, it's gone beyond a kink.
Okay, I personally don't think it's a problem to people's mental health. I think it's a problem to people's, like, sex lives. Because you're not going to get any.
I mean, if they want to jerk off into a fleshlight and have a body pillow of Azusa or something from whatever, what was it? Azumanga Daioh? Is that her
I
name?
think you're talking about K-On?
I don't remember.
Azusa?
Whatever her fucking face. No. I'm thinking of what's her face. What's the tall girl who's like stupid?
Mookie?
Okina?
Okina, yes.
Okino, yeah. Like there's a post.
Well, the
on,
stupid one is Osaka.
Osaka.
Azumanga Daioh.
No, not Osaka. Everyone hates her.
The tall one that's cute but
The
shy.
tall one is the smart one.
I don't. No, the one. Anyway, there was a post on 4chan where this guy had a docu of that girl from Azumanga Daioh, and he was like, "Well, about to take the wife out for a night on the town," and he actually like took her out to have dinner and stuff.
Fucking legend.
And I'm just like, I don't know if this is a shit post or if this guy is actually being serious, but it's kind of creepy. Like, if you want to love a body pillow, you want to love your 2D waifu, that's all and good, but you're exposing yourself outside and people are going to criticize you. And by the end of this thread, this guy was like, yeah, all these fucking normies looking at me like I'm fucking weird or something. I'm like, well, no shit, because this is weird.
You are weird.
This is weird to normal people. Like, I don't care if you want to fuck your body pillow, dude. Go right ahead, okay? That is all you. But if you expose yourself to other people and they think you're weird because of this, I
don't
know
be
what
surprised,
to say, man. Yeah. You gotta be open to the criticism if you're willing to expose yourself like that. And I feel like with the recent body imaging of anime characters and manga characters, how they've gotten just more crazily disproportionate and how they're just crafted to be liked by people, I feel like that's just bad. That people can't draw the line. You know what I'm saying?
I think... Go ahead.
No, that's all I had.
Okay, well, I think, like, quote-unquote falling in love with a 2D person or, like, marrying a 2D object / personality is fine, as long as you're aware, like, you're self-aware of the limitations and you don't pretend that certain things are what they're not, like pretending that your 2D waifu has a personality of her own. Like, as long as you can, like, differentiate between reality and fiction, then I think it's fine. You do whatever you want with your life. And I'm not sure if these people on the internet that are posting these things actually are trolling or if they can tell the difference. Like, I would assume they could tell the difference. Like, but you know, there are some people out there that just can't. And you know, it's not the problem of 2D waifus that they can't tell the difference. That's just a problem inherent in them, no matter what they're going to encounter. So yeah, I don't see this as a problem, really.
So
it's more like a general mental health problem than a problem with the 2D waifus.
But my point is that people are literally crafting these waifus to be liked like this by these fans. And I get that it's up to the discrepancy of the fan to, like, realize, like, yeah, this is literally 2D, it's fake, dude, it's not real. Like, you can like her for her personality, quote unquote, since you can't see my air quotes, I just realized that, because this is a podcast. I gesture with my hands, but I digress. This quote unquote personality, it's crafted by a team of people to be liked. And on top of that, they create these bodies and just patterns and behaviors to make it seem like this person or this character is real, when in reality they aren't. And some people are actually so delusional at this that they don't realize it, or they don't want to face the truth, which is why I think it's a bad thing. I understand that a majority of people can't tell the difference. Like, I personally love Vocaloids, right? Miku is just my idol. I love her to death. But I realize that she's literally fake. Right? I'm not gonna be like, Miku's my waifu, like, love her, she'll love me forever. I'm not like that. Even though I collect a lot of things of her, and I just love Vocaloids in general, I'm not so delusional to think that she's real. Though,
yeah,
if someone
I think that's the big difference, though.
I'd like to point out that if someone created androids in the future and made sentient AI and then made Miku into a personality, I may or may not marry one. Just saying.
Okay,
But that's
sure.
kind of a different story, though.
Yeah, that is a very different story. I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from, Sean. I mean, with me personally, I mean, I have the same thing that kind of you have with Miku with Holo from Spice and Wolf. Like, I love her to death, but at the same time, I'm cognizant enough to realize that she's a fucking two-dimensional character who I cannot have an actual conversation with. But I think that when society enables people who actually do have those delusions, that's when it becomes a problem.
So, like, I find it hard to believe that these producers are directly trying to, like, enable this kind of obsessive behavior.
Oh no,
They
I'm
are,
not saying the people
though,
that make
because
it
it makes
are.
them
No,
money.
no, I'm not saying the people that make the actual characters are doing it. I'm like people who facilitate marriages to Dakimakuras. Those are the people who are enabling it.
I mean,
All right, so
I guess.
I don't mind that they want to get married to their Dakis in real life because people can be allowed to have whatever weird fetish they want, right? That's how I believe. It's just that when faced with these criticisms, they always play the victim, which I don't think is right. That's not a healthy mentality to have. You need to understand that society has a set of norms, and if you can't follow it, then you have to be open to their criticisms. Whether or not you can, like, stand that should tell you whether you should be in the closet about this or not. I'm not saying you should be in the closet, but if you're willing to step out and be like, I fucking love anime giant titties, I love my waifus from Love Live, then you can't victimize yourself. Like, oh, these people don't understand me. It's like, this is so these characters are literally made to be sold to you. All right?
Yeah.
That's, to me,
I think
that's all right.
I think that they make them obviously to be liked and to be like endearing to people, but I don't think their intention is for people to obsess over them and think that they are real. I think that's going a bit too. I don't think that's the producer's intention. I think that's what the fans make it.
All right, so you have a point, but pulling from Fate Grand Order, the mobile game, and Fire Emblem Heroes, I have plenty of friends online and in real life that have spent hundreds of dollars pulling for their waifus and their husbandos. Not because they are good characters to have, but because they literally just want this character because they love this character. Right? To me, that's fine. If you want to spend all your money to grab your waifu or your husbando, go for it. But it's still unsettling that they created these characters to be used like this. It's just to make themselves money.
Well, it's also worth mentioning that when you're pursuing this at the detriment to yourself, that's also a problem. That's called an addiction.
I mean, okay, with the mobile games, I think like that's literally the point of the game, to collect your waifus. That's like how the game works. That's that's how you're supposed to play the game, honestly. That's from what I understand.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't really find that like obsessive. It's just how you're playing the game.
It's not any different than the waifu simulators that we see in visual novels. You're right, because
if you have to pay for the visual novel routes, like it would be basically the same thing.
I mean, so instead of waifu simulator, it's now turned into waifu gacha or waifu slots, right? Waifu husbando slot machine.
Waifu
Pokemon
pachinko.
Go.
Jesus Christ.
Waifu husbandos. All.
Okay.
All right, and this brings me to my next point, which is: are these waifus and husbandos setting unrealistic standards for society? And
Only if you hold them up as some kind of ideal.
so,
But people
that's
do.
another
It's
thing
the thing.
Yeah. So I know people that are like, they don't want 3D people because they're like, they just could never be as good as 2D. And I'm just like, I get what you're saying, but you guys are failing to see these guys who say 2D is greater than 3D. I'm not saying 2D isn't greater than 3D because I love 2D because, human people are scary. But I think it's setting unrealistic standards that you think this character that was meticulously crafted to be sold to you as a consumer, you think this is better than a real person. And I understand your fear of getting to know and getting intimate with a real person. That's really fucking scary because you have to open yourself up.
You have to put all of yourself out there when you're getting to know a 3D person.
And versus like loving a waifu or a husbando, they can't ever say no to you. They're literally just there to like brush your hair when you're sad. Like the people who are lonely enough to go to those hostess and host bars where they have people who just wait on you, making you feel important, right? And it's like they have there was that anime where it was like husbando dakimakuras or some shit, where it's meant for girls or women to come home to and watch and feel like they have a really nice looking boyfriend. And I'm just like, these literally exist for that purpose, to make people feel like they have a connection, because it's hard to connect with a real person. I believe that was the real intent. But then people take it differently and are like, oh, why would I need 3D when I have these husbandos waiting for me to come home?
Well, that's just a failure of people not being able to connect with fellow humans nowadays.
I mean, can you blame him though? With the advent of the internet, it's way easier to just meet online strangers and never have human connection.
I don't blame them, but it is a failure of the ability to be human, because it's what we've been doing for all of our history, but now they can't just because of one tool that came up.
Yeah.
I think that they're it's gonna sound really mean, but I don't mean it to be. I think that there's a lot of people that do the 2D is greater than 3D thing for a meme, and I get it. You know, it is kind of funny, but I think there's a lot of people who kind of fall into this thing where they think that because they've never been laid.
It would surprise me.
I mean, that's
a yes and no.
Sure.
I feel like this is more of a psychological problem of why you say 2D is greater than 3D is because 2D can't say no. They're literally crafted to be your ideal, right? But of course, if I could just, you've seen those posts on like Tumblr or Facebook where like you have the certain amount of money, you get to build your perfect waifu or husbando, right?
Yeah, stuff like that.
So it's essentially what we're being sold, that, which I feel again is just terrible, because reality is you can have someone who actually has all these qualities that you want in a 2D, right? In real life, but at the expense of some detriment, because a real person is real and they change and they have other
and a real
habits.
person can actually say no.
Yeah.
unless you gag them.
Oh, there.
I'm not even going to entertain
let's
that
not
statement.
go into this territory.
Okay, I wanted to say just with the 2D like body being greater than 3D because they're like drawn perfectly. That's like also a problem that we have in the West with like Hollywood. Everyone wears makeup.
Yeah.
Like they edit the body in like these special effects, and like with photo shoots, models, everything is edited, everything is processed.
Everything is fake.
Got to get that hashtag no filter, you know. But I mean that's a quote unquote problem, if you think it is. That is, I think, crosses cultures. And I mean, yeah, like there was a huge like lashback against like how unrealistic Barbie was, and like how everyone was pissed off on Barbie, and then they're like, we need more realistic dolls or whatever. So yes, in some ways it's really bad, especially for children. But I mean, I don't want to watch everything that looks like, I don't want to watch ugly people or like just plain people. I want to watch like nice looking people. So like there's a flip side to everything. Yes, it's unrealistic and it's unrelatable and it sets bad standards, but it's also like interesting to watch. So I think that a bit of both is good.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I understand that point of view. You know, when we turn to entertainment, we don't want to watch normal people doing extreme things. We want to see crazy people. Like if I'm watching an action film, for example, I want to look at a fucking tough, badass, buff dude, right? Doing all the crazy shit, like yippee-ki-yaying off of fucking skyscrapers at Nakatomi Towers and shit.
Yeah, you certainly don't want the fucking main character of your action movie to be some kind of college soy boy, do you?
No, not necessarily. Because it wouldn't be that entertaining, honestly. And I feel like you're right, Sho, in that aspect. We want to see beautiful people doing things for entertainment because it's just better.
But there's also the matter of balance, which people just can't achieve, is the thing. They don't know what moderation is.
When we craft all these perfect anime characters, I love watching shows that have characters that, even if they're crafted perfectly, as in body image wise, they still have flaws in their personality. I need something to balance it out. You're right.
Yeah. I'd also like to point out, like, in terms of, you know, people taking the 2D thing too far, you know, you can use anime to meet people and find your 3D.
Oh, most definitely.
I mean, I'm not trying to host a fucking dating advice podcast right here, because honestly, I can't really explain to people. You just be yourself, right? No matter how fucking weird you are, there's gonna be someone out there who matches your weird, okay? There will be.
I mean, okay, but like I have a problem with that statement because you're assuming that finding a partner is like universally a good thing. Like not everyone wants to find a partner.
no.
Not everyone
No,
needs a partner to be
most definitely
happy.
not.
Absolutely. There are some people I would absolutely agree should never be in any kind of relationship
Oh
whatsoever.
my god, what? I don't know what you're trying to say, but okay. But like, yeah, I don't really have a problem with people like treating these 2D things as like their partners, because I don't really see a problem with like not wanting to deal with the drama and the complications of having a real life partner, as long as you are aware of the restrictions and you don't go crazy and think things that don't exist. Okay.
See, that's
Like,
the if. I mean, it has to be. You have to do that in order to not be unhealthy about it. You have to be self-aware enough to realize that this is what I want, and it's not because I think that this is an actual fucking person.
oh yeah.
Put it in. Put it in.
Ta-deen.
Put it in. Put it in.
That song freaks me the fuck out.
It does, but I mean, so in Welcome to the NHK, he has that otaku neighbor, right? That is super into that shit, and
Yeah.
he kind of personifies like what I'm talking about of this the unhealthy habits of like this anime character is my waifu and she's better than the rest. Like 3D would never top her. I'm like, yeah, because she's meant to be built without faults. She's literally made like this.
That's her
Yeah.
purpose.
NHK, Welcome to NHK is a perfect example of how this can go very, very wrong.
Yeah, very, very fast, too. Living that hikikomori and neat life, which I am no stranger to. Not healthy. Not healthy. It's healthy in moderation, though. If you treat it as a hobby, and you don't... I don't know, it's weird for me, because I still have days where I'm just like, you know what I'm going to do for 12 hours? Play video games?
Nothing.
Watch
Just
anime?
nothing.
Read
Not leaving this
novels.
room.
Bitch, I thought you were like, I can't play a Civ game for 10 hours straight. I don't have that much attention span.
Yeah.
Then you go play fucking FPS for 100 hours.
Right, that's just because I
Whatever.
used to do, like, play 20 hours of FPS games, tournament stuff. It's extreme. But I'm going to move on now to our last subject,
Okay.
which I think this is one of the more important parts or points that I want to make, is the sexualization of certain characters, as in lolis, shotas, impossible boobs, a bad thing for the body images of anime characters. I personally believe that it is, in the sense that I personally don't like pandering harem animes, and like the lowly harem gathering ones I particularly don't like, just because
Like that. What was that one from last season?
Death March?
No, Rio's work is never done.
Oh yeah, the Rio's the dragon something was it Shogi?
The shogi one.
Yeah, the Shogi guy who collects the lolis. Like I watched that because everyone was like, "Oh man, you love lolis, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think I love cute girls. I like cute boys too." And I watched it, and then
Wink,
like
wink.
I'm just saying, I like cute boys and girls. I don't judge. I like cute
Come back,
animals.
Poco. Come back, Poco.
Oh god.
He's an equal opportunity predator.
I'm not a predator.
FBI Chan, please don't judge.
Excuse me, Chris Hansen. I got a live one for you.
Anyway, so in the Rio's work is never done, I watched like the first 4 episodes, and I was like, yeah, they have lolis, and they has like the main loli is like she's a wife. She acts like a wife where she cooks him food and like she's super autistic. And I'm just like, I like that she has character as an autistic person, but this show is literally just pandering to sell lolis to me, which I fucking detest. I was like, gross. These characters don't have any more personality than, hey, look at this cute little girl. She's a little bit weird, but you'll fucking love her, you pedophile. And I'm just like, I don't like
That's it.
that. This character has no depth. Why would... It doesn't matter that she's a loli and that she's cute. She has no depth. It's like cardboard, right? She's literally 2D cardboard, and I just could not get into it.
So you're saying you don't like the fact that sometimes these characters are there just for the sake of being there,
Yeah, it's
of
just
filling up
pandering.
space.
Yeah, they'll insert lolis or shotas or impossible boobs-kun in every show just to get ratings, to get the shit to sell. And I hate that, right? It's fine for them to be there if you want them to be a part of your plot, if you want to actually give them depth and give them a purpose in the story. That's cool. But if you just put them in there just to sell to me because you think this type of body imagery is what I want, you're fucking dead wrong. Because I'm not that type of fan. And I'm pretty sure I'm in the, not the majority. For this,
Minority?
probably. Yeah, thank you. I was like, what is the opposite of majority? Yeah, I'm in the minority for this because a lot of people view it as like, well, I mean, this is geared to sell me lolis. Like, yeah, I get it. I get that that's what it's for. I just don't like it. And I think it's a negative thing because it just reinforces that, oh, you know what? This show that we made to sell lolis, it was a fucking hit. Everyone loved it. Let's make more trash like this. Yeah, it's just disgusting.
Does that sometimes, though, come down to the fan base? Because there's certain shows that I've seen where the characters in the show themselves aren't sexualized, but the fan base ends up sexualizing them.
Yeah, that
It
happens
definitely
in
plays
lot.
a part to it.
Yeah, that. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole like fan fiction and shipping thing that fans do all the time. This is what makes fan bases cancerous, right? And it's just a little bit. And it's not a little bit. It's very off-putting, and makes me regret even wanting to be part of a fan base. And that's why I normally don't associate with myself with fan bases. Like, I like watching My Little Pony, specifically the first 3 seasons. I thought the first 2 seasons were amazing. I thought season 3 was alright, and then season 4 and so forth, I just did not care for. I was just like, eh. And that was because the main writers left the show or something, or the main creator left. I forget what it was, but that's why
Lauren Faust, the creator, left.
Yeah, I don't remember if she left because she wanted to leave or if she got booted. But I just remember after season 4 and beyond, I did not enjoy, so I stopped watching it. And for the longest time, I never wanted to tell people I liked watching the show. Because they would always, oh, so you're a brony, right? I'm like, I don't want to associate myself with that rabid fan base, okay? Like, they can have their own, whatever, they can have their own fandom, and they can, fuck, what do they call it? Clopping. They can clop themselves or whatever. They're fucking
disgusting.
What does that mean?
It's like masturbating or something. It's like the sound effect.
Masturbating
Oh my
to ponies
God.
specifically.
Yeah.
It's because, like, ponies don't have actual fingers, so they have to clop their hands or their feet together
we
to,
just
you know,
not
get it to
talk
work.
about
Yeah,
this?
and I'm just
Painful.
like, this fan base can be like that, and that's their thing. That's good on them. But I personally just like watching the shows because of the show. I don't sexualize these ponies. I don't want to have anything associated with sexualizing it. I just like the show. It had a good written story. I like the friendship aspect, you know? I watch a lot of different varied shows because I like the plot, I like the characters. It doesn't matter to me about the art style, if it's American, if it's European, if it's Japanese. It really doesn't matter to me that much. Like I've seen King's Avatar, the Chinese anime, right? It was super terrible, but I loved the plot. Like, it was super terribly animated. Like, 3D was so bad. It's horrendous. And they reused a lot of images. They reused a lot of, like, transformation scenes and shit. It was just like, am I watching Voltron? Like, it's the exact same transformation and fight scenes that the same animation that they have for the fights for all the episodes for, like, ever. I'm just like, this is like Voltron in the 80s, right? Isn't what they did? Because it's a budget issue, and I get that. But I still like the story. And that's why I'm a fan of it, of King's Avatar. And that's why I feel like this sexualization of characters within the fan base and stuff is bad. Because it just makes more people off-put from the series. Because it's like, oh, I don't want to associate myself with that series if it's about that. Ugh.
Like, let's be real, sexualization of a anime or whatever is going to happen almost no matter what, but it really just depends how prevalent it becomes. If it becomes so big, such as bronies with My Little Pony, then it definitely turns away a lot of people from it. But if it isn't as bad as that, then it could still exist in a more healthy way. And a healthy amount.
Chinoda's got a point there, because typically the bigger the fan base, the bigger the cancer.
Yeah, I do agree that it's basically a universal thing. If there's a giant fan base, there will be cancer. You can't stop them.
I mean, a good example though is like a lot of modern shonen. On top of having a lot of modern shonen have really big casts, they also tend to have really big fan bases, and that just leads to a lot of characters in shonens getting sexualized.
I feel like the people who sexualize characters in shonen are just a certain sect of people that just love sexualizing characters in general.
Yes, they're called 13-year-olds.
What?
Uh,
No, I'm pretty sure it's majority of them are adults, but okay.
maybe they have the maturity level of a 13.
That's kind of what I meant.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care what fans do. I mean, they could do the weirdest fucking BDSM bestiality porn of the most of like Dora the Explorer. Girl, you do you. I don't really care.
Lord.
I don't. You know, Dora and backpack.
But
I see the
but
connection.
when it becomes so prevalent, like Shinoda was pointing out, isn't that a bad thing for the industry? Isn't that just
It's a bad thing for that anime.
Honestly, like a lot of people view it as a bad thing, but really it's a good thing.
How?
It shows that the fans care, that they're passionate. It shows that the thing is working, it's selling, it's making people
By
passionate.
driving away
Like,
even more
I don't-
fans and more people by raising controversy?
I feel like the shows with controversial fan art of it are already like super popular, and the controversy only just either doesn't like. I don't see the controversy making the sales like abysmal. I see it either staying the same or going up.
I don't know.
I-
I don't know about that.
I just know that a lot of people get off put by these fan bases that do sexualize characters in whatever it is. That's my whole point, and I think that's bad. Because again,
It's
I mean,
all-
what are you gonna
I
do
gave you,
about
I gave
it?
you a really good
What
example.
are you gonna do though? Like censor them?
not
No.
censor them. I'm just saying you can have your habits, your hobbies, whatever. It's just understand what you're doing. If you really want more fans, or you want this thing that you liked to be well received by everyone, think of what you're doing before you post your 32 gigabytes of porn of the certain character.
And your 18 volume fan fiction.
Yeah, just think.
But no, a good example of this is like the JoJo's fan base. Now, there's a lot of girls that are JoJo's fans, but they're only fans because they like shipping the male characters. And it's like, no, don't.
Yeah, but you've
Or
got to
like,
expect that from
or
the
like-
JoJo's fan base. Like,
Or like basically any Fujoshi fan base.
That's true.
are we just
But
saying
see-
Fujoshi or cancer? Is that what we're hearing here? 'Cause that's what
Fujoshi,
I'm
No, I'm
Cancer,
saying that
Right.
They fit
Fujoshi
this
in
description
moderation
that we-
is good.
Okay. Whatever you say, buddy.
It is. I can actually agree with him, but it has to be very heavily moderated is the thing.
I wouldn't say it needs to be heavily moderated. I'm just saying people need to take responsibility about what they're doing. Right?
People
Just be
don't
like,
know shit about responsibility.
Yeah, they don't, and that's the problem.
I think that's the core issue that he's getting to here.
If they want to have all this shit of their like, I want to spread the ass cheeks of this 13-year-old in a Shota position where he's getting ejaculated on by like 50 of the other main dudes in the cast, right? If they want to put that on the internet, and then they're offended that people are like, oh god, this is like a PG show, what are you doing to this Beyblade dude? Don't reel back and be like, you guys can't understand my taste. It's like,
I didn't just say I want to let it rip.
why? Why?
Oh
You're
my
bad.
God.
Oh my god, dude.
Beyblade Shota's let it rip.
I'm pretty sure that's a thing. I guarantee you that's a thing. This is,
I'm gonna go look that up the second this podcast is
Oh
over.
my.
Christ.
oh.
Yeah. I mean, I find that a lot of hentai Shota artists are making a lot of art for characters who are in like little children shows, and I mean I don't mind. It's like, are these children actually going to go look for them? Like,
Whoa, hold on.
no,
What?
they're not going to stumble across it.
All right, so if you just like type in Sonic the Hedgehog in Google Images with your filter 18 plus filter off, you're telling me you won't see some deprived shit.
Girl,
Tell
I
me
don't
that.
know. I'm
Tell
not
me
into that.
Not to indict myself here, but yes.
Uh-huh.
It's not what you think. Shut up.
All right, that's all I have for this.
I think for the lolis and shotas, we actually kind of already did a podcast on that, which I highly recommend everyone go check out. But I don't know. I think some of this has a place. Like you put down the example of like impossible boobs, like really big boobs. I think if there's a place for it in a story that is just not there to pander to people, I'm fine with it. Like for the impossible boobs thing, if you had a character who was a former porn star who's trying to get her life together, if she has impossible boobs, fine, because it's part of her character. It makes sense. But if you're just gonna have impossible boobs like the fucking teacher in High School of the Dead, no.
The teacher? You mean the
But like that was like the point of the show, wasn't it? Like ecchi was very like part of the premise.
Yeah, I know. It's bad example.
Well, this also reminds me of the big backlash against the not Overlord, Overwatch fan art of May. People drew her skinny, and then people were like so fucking pissed off because they're like not the proper body standards. She is a plus sized woman, and you cannot draw her skinny. And there's this huge, crazy backlash against those kind of art or those kind of artists. And honestly, I don't really care. I
care.
I'm totally.
First of all,
look. You can draw whatever you want. Okay. Artist creative freedom.
I agree with you. You can draw whatever you want. That's fine. But I'd like to point out, May is bae, and she thick as fuck, my boy. She is thick, okay?
She's not that
Yeah,
crazy
I like her thick.
Let's be real.
But I'm not gonna hate on her thin either.
Yeah, I thought her thin art was okay, but when people drew her thick, like actually proportionate to how she's supposed to be, I lost it.
It's her clothes. She's thin on the inside.
No, she thick! She thick!
Oh, here we go.
Fuck skinny bitches.
Bitches ain't shit.
But hoes and tricks.
But hoes and tricks.
Hey.
Okay.
I don't know. I think if it has a place in the story, or it has a place in the actual show or manga or whatever it is that's being presented, I'm fine with sexualization of certain things that are impossible. But other than that, I think it kind of depends on the person.
Okay, like for sexualizing things in the actual work itself or in the show itself, like, but who is it really insulting? Like,
is it insulting?
If you display a lolly, it's like no. Like, if you display impossible boobs, it's like setting impossible standards for women. But if you display a lolly, like, who is it setting standards for? Like,
you're priming.
Well, it depends.
You're priming
it depends. If you
okay?
see a loli who's like a middle-aged woman who's like a mother of 3 children, that is insulting mothers of 3 children.
Not really, because mothers of 3 children look like that. They just
they look like lolis
on page. They say, oh wait, what are you saying? I'm thinking you're saying.
First of all, Alex, they exist.
Yes, in Asia maybe
they do, and there's a very popular lady in Japan who is actually a real life loli, but she's also a parent. And they're just like, holy crap, you look like you're 10 years old. And that's the amazing thing.
I must meet this woman.
No, stop. Stop.
Please.
Cringe.
Freaking pedophiles. Ruining my pure lolis and my shotas. How dare they? You can't sexualize these angels.
I'll send you some Poco's Udon World shota porn later.
No. Please don't.
But yeah, I don't think shotas and lollies are setting unrealistic standards for anyone.
I feel like if we're in regards to the body image, you're right. They're not. But when they craft these shotas and lolis in some of the shows, I wouldn't say all the shows that have lolis and shotas, because like Poco in Poco's Udon World, he's definitely not crafted to be like some shota that you want to sexualize. It's just like, look at this child, he's so cute. But there are definitely lolis and shotas that are crafted to have, they'll look like lolis, like real life lolis and shotas, like real life 10-year-olds with the same bodies, but they'll have personalities that don't seem to fit, and that's why people start to tend to sexualize them.
Like Shiro in No Game No Life.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't act. She's like what, 12, 13?
She's I think 11.
11.
She's stupid
doesn't
young.
Act like an 11. It's like, and you can get away with it. Like, oh, because she's a super genius, so she's matured a little more, so it's okay if you sexualize her. It's like, no, not really. It's not okay. You can do it, but it's not okay. Doesn't mean you can't do it, though. Just saying it's not okay. As long as you realize that you're being deprived, you're a depraved person for doing that, and you can live with yourself like that, that's fine. I'm a depraved person. I'm just saying, own up to it.
Yeah. It's actually it's a good way to end.
Yeah.
Just own up to it. If you're a depraved bastard, just own up to it. I would like to say one last thing. We've kind of mentioned a lot of female body image stuff. I would like to say that it stands to reason that the male stuff is also kind of included in that. Like the ultra buff dudes that it's the same concept.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
super unrealistic, like, this knight in shining armor main character who's hella OP. He's gonna look really beautiful or just have, like, crazy muscles and stuff. And it's like, I get it. Like I said, like we talked about earlier, he's supposed to be the main character badass, so he has to look like this. You're right. It's not a one-way street. It goes both ways for men and women in anime. Lolis and shotas and just high school kids. Doesn't matter. Everything's just out of control.
And sometimes he's an impossible bone daddy. Just saying.
Sasuga
I think
Ainsama.
I feel like, oh my god.
Bone daddy.
I feel like most anime men are like not that buff though.
No, but they do exist, and it's still an unrealistic, like, I mean, some muscles are, I get it, but if you're like, your body fat is like 0.00001%, you're fucking dead anyway in the real world.
I mean, first of all,
But like who are we talking about?
Lelouch is
Do you have
super
any
lanky,
examples?
right? He's like strings, right?
Yeah, but he's not muscular.
No, I'm saying, like, that's so unrealistic.
no, but like someone
But
like
that's not supposed to be appealing though.
But
That's
it
just the art
is.
style. I know.
For a lot
I'm
of
just-
you don't think that there's
Shut up, Chandona.
you don't think that there's someone out there that's gotten off of that.
No, but the show doesn't portray it. The show doesn't try to sell it as a sexy thing.
Alex, are you incriminating yourself?
That's why you're here, Johnny boy.
All right, and with that, Alex.
Yes, all right, I'll end this since you're a lazy bastard. Thank you all out there for dropping in to listen to us. We hope you enjoyed it because we always enjoy bringing this stuff to you. If you want to check out previous episodes of the podcast, you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. If you want to keep up with what we're doing and have a little more fun, you can always join our brand new Discord server, become a member of our Facebook group, follow our Twitch channel, and visit our website. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, or concern on this or any episode, feel free to shoot us an email. Links to all of these things will be down below in the description. As always, John was your host tonight.
Was I, though?
I didn't actually write this for someone else to actually say it and then go. But as always, I've been your outroer, Alex. And I will see you next time. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Have a good one.
I would like to say that this is the 69th regular episode of our podcast.
Hey,
That
hey,
totally wasn't planned or anything.
All I got to say about that is nice.
hey.